Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. The last challenge we did was can you beat Pokemon Shield with only a Morpeko. After that video, I actually started liking Morpeko a lot more than I did previously. I looked at the comment section of previous videos and picked a Pokemon for this video that some of you guys suggested. So today we are here to see if I can beat Pokemon Shield with only a Sizzlipede. If we take a look at Sizzlipede's stats, you will notice that he does not have the best stats. His highest stat is his attack. Besides that, he is not that great. Now, taking a look at his move pool, you can see that he does not get access to a lot of moves. This will definitely cause us problems in points of the challenge. Now that we know what we're working with, let's take a look at the rules. Rule 1 is that I can only use Sizzlipede in battle. Rule 2 is that I cannot use any glitches or hacks to get through the game. Rule 3 is that I cannot use any items in battle. I am allowed, though, to use held items. Little side note, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I stream daily on the channel and post challenge videos on the weekends. With all that out of the way, let's get into the video. To start off, Sizzlipede is not a starter in the game, so what we had to do was play up to the point where we can trade. At this point, I traded a Sizzlipede and an egg over to my save file. This way, when I hatch it in my save file, it will listen to me and not disobey. Once he was in the game, I grinded him up to level 10 and began the challenge. We head to the wild area where I was able to pick up the leftovers to help us through the game. We then made our way to Motorstoke where we, come on, you can guess it. We went shopping. Now that we look dapper, we can properly play through the challenge. We headed to the hotel to get some sleep for the next day, but can't because of some team yelled douchebags want a battle. We battled them and easily take them out with just using Ember. After beating them, we got the privilege to go to bed. The next day, we headed to the stadium to take place in a grand ceremony to start the gym challenge. After being cheered on by many people, Hop is amped up and wants to battle. At level 11, we easily make it past his Wooloo, but his Rookity comes in and wrecks us with Peck. I needed to grind a bit. I came back at level 13 and got lucky that Hop misplayed and went for Leer. This would be bad, but we have the ability White Smoke, which prevents other Pokemon from lowering its stats. Because of this misplay, we take out the Rookity on that turn. Then his Grookey comes in and falls to a couple Embers. And with that, we beat Hop. It was time to make our way through Route 3 and the Galar Mines and beat every trainer in them. Then at the end of the mines, we run into Bede, who wants to take us on in a battle. At level 15, we already learned Bite, which is super effective against Bede's whole team. We made it through Bede's whole team with absolute ease and made our way to Turffield, home of the Grass-type gym. I was very confident going into this gym because of our huge type advantage. At level 16, we take on the Gothita and go for Flame Wheel. We do about half to it and it barely even scratches us. The next turn, I Dynamax and go for Max Flare to take it out and make the Sunlight harsh for our next attack. The Eldegoss came in and literally cannot do anything to us, and we take it out with 2 Max Flares, and with that we beat the first gym. After, we have to beat up some Team Yell goons again because they are harassing an innocent person. With Mr. Mustache, we are able to take them out once again. Right after, Hump wants to take us on in a battle again. At level 19, he has us matched. I get past the Wooloo easily, but then his Corvisquire came in. It outspeeds me and does about half of my health with Peck. We also couldn't do a whole lot of damage to it, so because of that, it takes us out the next turn. I try again at level 20 and fail. I grind up a bit more and then learn Coil. At this moment, I knew I could beat him because we could set up a few coils on the Wooloo and then sweep the rest of his team. And that is exactly what we did. Corvisquire's Peck couldn't even do anything to us as our defense was so much higher now, and we one-shot it with Flame Wheel. Then we one-shot the Thwackey as well and win the battle. After we make our way to Holberry and make our way to the Water-type gym. You think this gym would be very hard for us since we are a little small Firebug, but the good thing about Mr. Mustache is that it can learn Power Whip, which is an extremely powerful grass attack. With this, we are able to one-shot Nessa's Goldeen. Then her Arrokuda comes in and we Dynamax on it so we can take a hit better, and then we one-shot it with Max Overgrowth. Then her Dreadnought comes in, and since it is 4 times weak to grass, it also falls to 1 hit from Mr. Mustache, and we beat the second gym. If we did not have Power Whip, this battle would be next to impossible. Thank you, Game Freak, for helping our brother out. It was time to go to a restaurant to have a nice plate of napkin. Oh my gosh, I freaking love this meal. After that delicious meal, we head to the mines where we find Bede once again and have to take him on. His Solosis is able to barely live a bite from us, but we get the flinch so it isn't able to attack. We then finish it off. Next was Gothita, who also lives a bite from us, but once again we get the flinch. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm loving this RNG, but I would love to save it for later in the game. Hatina comes in and falls to 1 bite, and then his Ponyta comes in and falls to a couple of attacks. With that, we beat Bede. After we make our way through the mines and end up having to battle a couple douchebags once again, we easily beat their butts with Hop and make our way back to Motorstoke. I make my way to the hotel where once again I am stopped from heading to bed by Marnie, who wants to battle. We start the battle with a couple turns of Coil to raise our defense and attack since we will probably need it for her team. We make it past the Krogunk and Scraggy with relative ease. Then our Morpeko comes in and gave me a scare with a critical hit bite, which almost took us out, but we don't get flinch and finish it off with a bug bite. After beating Marnie, we can finally get some rest. The next day, we head to take on Kabu. Since he can't burn us and we don't get our attack lowered because of our ability, we were put into a good position. We go for a couple of coils to raise our attack and defense, since we will need to be able to do any good damage to his Pokemon. It took us a few turns of Bug Bite and Bite before we could take it out. Arcanine came in and falls to a couple max darknesses, but at this point we are in red health against the Center Scorch and it outspeeds and takes us out in one hit. We definitely needed to grind up a bit. At level 35 we made it to the Center Scorch and are able to outspeed, but Bite still does not do that much damage even after 2 turns of it, so we end up falling once again. At level 36 I am able to make it to the Center Scorch with 2 more turns of being Dynamax. I go for Max Darkness twice in a row to take it out and beat the 3rd gym. With that win we are officially a 3rd way done with this game. The next thing we had to do was head to Hammerlock to deal with some more boring story stuff that we don't really need to include in a challenge video. I mean, I could talk about it to give me some more watch time. No, Tubman, don't give in. Don't give in. Give the people what they came here for. After the story stuff, we meet up with the douchebag once again and have to destroy them in a battle. It must be very embarrassing to keep losing to a tiny little bug. We make our way through Route 6 and end up having to soft reset a couple of times against this dumb trainer with a self-destructing Pokemon and a tree. Really, why does this guy have to exist? Right after we arrive in Stownside to a beautiful, dry, brown, hot town. Who would honestly live here? We make 2 steps into the town and have to take on Hop again. At level 38, his derpy looking bird is able to destroy my life. Come on, man, I lost to that thing? At level 42, it bodies me again. Can you please stop, good sir? At level 43, I am barely able to live a couple plucks from him and we take it out after he has taken us to red health. His Soul Cobra comes in, we miss a Power Whip. We get super freaking lucky as it isn't able to take us out. We hit a Power Whip the following turn to take it out. Thwacky then comes in and takes us to 2 HP. My god, I'm having the closest of calls. We then take it out with 1 hit. Then finally his Toxel comes in and I'm forced to take it out. I feel so bad because he's just so cute. After the battle, it was time for the 4th gym leader, Alistair. He starts off the battle with his Yaw Mask. I know he loves going for disable first turn and I didn't want him to disable Crunch, so I take a free turn of setup to go for Coil. He disables that and we take it out the following turn. Cursor then comes in and falls to 1 hit as well. Mimikyu was next and it is able to live a few turns with help from its disguise but ultimately falls to Max Darkness. Lastly was his Gengar and it literally does nothing to us with Max Ooze and we are able to 2-shot it with Max Darkness to give us the win. After the gym we had to try and stop Bede from ruining Art. His whole team literally gets 1-shot by Crunch but his Hatina. It is barely able to hold on to its life but falls the 2nd turn. After thinking we stopped him from destroying the Art, we unfortunately almost died from the Art crumbling to pieces before our eyes. After a near-death experience, it was time to fly through Glimwood Tangle to head to the next gym. This gym usually isn't too hard because of the boost and stats you get throughout the battle, but it was still a little scary since Opal's team is Bulk City. Because of this, I knew I needed a couple turns of Coil to raise my attack, especially for her Togekiss, which can easily destroy me with Ancient Power. It took me a few soft resets to do this though, because Weezing kept poisoning me and we couldn't win after being poisoned. After a couple tries, we were able to Coil twice and finish the Weezing off with 2 turns of Fire Lash. Then Togekiss comes in and I knew we needed Dynamax to take a hit from it. We actually outspeed it and 1-shot it with Max Flare to my surprise. Mawile was next and falls to 1 Max Flare as well. Then her Fat Cake comes in, we burn the crap out of it to give us the win. With that win, we now have 5 badges. After the battle, we make our way back to Hammerlock and head to battle Hop once again. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Hop didn't want to battle us as much. He starts off with his Trevenant who is barely able to live a Fire Lash from us. He goes from Shadow Claw and does some decent damage to us. We then finish it off the following turn. Next was his Snorlax. I go for Fire Lash on him to keep lowering his defense since I knew he loves to go for Stockpile. Once I got him to red, he goes for Body Slam and does some good damage to us again. But then we finished it off the following turn. Up next was Heatmore and he was able to take us out fast with a couple of his own Fire Lashes. At level 50, I decided to switch up my strategy just a tiny bit. I decided to go for 4 Coils at the beginning of the battle to make it very hard for Hop to do any damage to us. I get to the Snorlax and unfortunately can't 1-shot him and he paralyzes me with Body Slam. We literally get the best RNG ever and never get paralyzed 1 turn to take out the rest of Hop's team in 1-shot KOs. After the extremely lucky battle, it was time to make our way to Searchester to take on the next gym leader, Melanie. Now, I thought she could give us some trouble because of her Lapras, so I had some fear going into this battle. I knew the only way to win was to have a ton of health for the Lapras. I started off the battle with a couple of Coils to raise my attack a bit. Then I 1-shot her Frostmoth with Fire Lash. Then her Darmanitan came in and taunts me. What, bro, you think I'm not gonna attack you? You're sadly mistaken. I then take it out with a Fire Lash. Ice came in and we instantly break his Ice Head and then finish it off the following turn. Then Asteroid Mania Videos comes in and barely lives a Max Overgrowth, but we are able to take a Max Geyser from him and then finish it off the next turn. Right after beating Melanie, Hop wants to take us on in another freaking battle. Bro, please just leave me alone, I just want to go to the next gym. At level 51, his double was able to do too much damage to us, so when his Corviknight came in, it was able to finish me off easy. easy. I grind up to level 54 and I stick with my same plan and coil a couple turns to start off the battle. This time Double goes for defense curl and growl instead of attacking me like they did in the last battle. It then gets one hit off on us before we could take it out with Fire Lash. Corviknight and Pinurchin fall to 1 Fire Lash each. Then Mr. Snorlax decides to come in and make things annoying and takes 2 hits to kill. Lastly was his Rillaboom, and with no surprise it goes down to just 1 Fire Lash. After beating Hop, once again we have to take on some more douchebags because they are harassing another innocent person. When will you learn? I beat them down and then head to Spikemuth. Once I arrive, I am not allowed to enter because Marty wants to take us on in a battle. This girl literally is getting on my nerves. She's always in the way of me doing things. We start off the battle with a coil and she goes for Torment. I then one-shot the Liepard with Fire Lash. Toxicroak came in and swaggers me and I go for coil and luckily don't hit myself in confusion. The next turn we snap out from confusion and take it out with Fire Lash. Scrafty came in and fell instantly to a Power Whip. And then a Morpeko falls to 1 Fire Lash. Then I was allowed entrance into the city. I made sure to grab a useless Magikarp for this gym since you need to have a second team member to enter. It was now time to take on Piers. I start off the battle with Coil. He goes for payback and does just under half to us. Then the following turn I go for Power Up and take it down to yellow, and then he also takes us to yellow. Then I finish it off the next turn. Malamar was up next and falls immediately to the lunge. His Obstagoon was next and I play the guessing game and predict his Obstruct first turn and go for Coil. It works out in my favor. The following turn he Shadow Claws and then I lunge, taking him to yellow health. The following turn I predict his Obstruct and get it wrong as he goes for Throat Chop. Then the next turn he goes for Throat Chop again and takes me to red, but I finish it off with a lunge. Skuntank was last in and I go for Fire Lash to kill, but I do fall to his Aftermath once he faints. But technically it still counts as a win in competitive play since I took him out first, so we get to continue in the challenge. It was time to head back to Hammerlock for the 3rd time to take on the last gym. But before we could do that, I needed to get past the gym trainers. Well, this was definitely super tough with some of the type matchups I was going against. The Pelipper and Slugu were definitely hard to go against and I wasn't able to beat that until level 60. Then the next battle was against Turtonator and Ninetales. Turtonator's Rock Tomb was the one thing destroying me in this match. It took us until level 70 to actually beat this battle. Both of those battles were super annoying and it was just a glimpse to what the gym leader would be like. I decided to teach Mr. Mustache Scald for this next gym, since he has ground types and a rock type. The first 2 turns I focus on the Gigalith since the Flagon can't lower my stats with Break and Swipe. Once Gigalith was gone, I Dynamax since we are already at half health. I go for the Flagon and do about half to it. Then the Sandaconda paralyzes me. The next turn we take out the Flagon. The following turn his Duraludon comes in and then one-shots me. I definitely was going to need some more levels so I could take some of these hits a little bit better. It took many trial and errors to get through this gym. While trying from different levels I decided to switch up my strategy. Instead of going for Scald, which was a 2-hit KO on the Gigalith, I decided to go for Power Whip, which was a 1-shot kill. So we would take no damage from him because of this. Then once the Sandaconda came in, I would focus on that instead of the Flygon and go for Power Whip on it. This would one-shot it as well and we wouldn't get paralyzed. We basically would just ignore the Flygon since it would just only go for Breaking Swipes, which didn't do any damage. Then once he sent his Duraludon, we would Dynamax and go for 2 max flares. To be able to beat him with this new strategy, it took me until level 85. And even then I barely beat him in red health. Because of this one gym, I literally had to gain 30 levels. Well anyways, after the gym we headed to Winden to take place in a tournament. Our first battle was against Marnie. Because we are such a high level now, this battle was a breeze. I didn't even need to set up with Coil to win. I just went for Lunge on our Liepard and then went for Max Flutterby on her Scrafty. I followed up with a Max Flare on her Croagunk and another Max Flutterby on Morpeko. And then her Grimmsnarl came in and we are able to live a G Max Snooze to take it out the next turn. Our next battle was against Hop. For this battle I mindlessly spammed Fire Lash on his whole team. I Dynamax on the Pinurchin and went for Max Flare to take him and the Rillaboom out. Literally the easiest battle of the run yet. Right after, we have to beat up some Steel-type trainers since they are preventing us from talking to Leon. After destroying all of them, Oleana is the last line of defense and I'm forced to take her on. Frostlass is up first and falls to 1 Fire Lash. Milotic is up and then falls to 1 Power Whip. Serena is next and falls to a Fire Lash. We then Dynamax on the Salazzle and go for Max Flare, which it lived and then poisoned us. We then take it out the following turn. Garbodor was up last, and to my surprise, we take it out with just 1 Max Flare. We then finally get to talk to our boy Leon and hear that there is something up with the chairman. After we go get some rest and then head to the stadium to take on all the gym leaders. Up first is Bede, who is the new fairy type gym leader. He doesn't give us a challenge at all as we can literally one-shot his whole team. Up next was Nessa. We were able to make the Gothita emergency exit with Power Whip. Then we take some big damage from the Barraskewda but take it out with Power Whip. Gothita came back in, we take it out with another attack. Seeking was up and I thought it was time to Dynamax. From there we one-shot the rest of our team with Max Overgrowth, giving us the win. Next gym leader we had to face off against was Alistair. We were able to two-shot his Dusknoir with Crunch. Then his Cursula, Chandelier, and Sinistea fall to 1 crunch each. I don't even Dynamax on the Gengar just to show off a little bit and take him out with 2 crunches. Rayhan was up last, and my god, he is so much easier to take on in a single battle. We start off the battle going for Coil. The following turn we go for Crunch, taking him to about half, and then I fall asleep from his yawn. We get lucky and are only asleep for 1 turn and wake up to finish the Torkoal off. Gudra comes in and falls to a couple of crunches. Turtonator comes in and we go for a turn 1 Coil. The following turn he Shell Smashes and we take him to red and almost get taken out by Shell Smash. Flygon comes in and I decide to Dynamax and take it out with Max Overgrowth. Duraludon was last and he fell to just 1 Max Flare. And with that we beat Rayhan. Right before we could take on Leon, the chairman decides to tell the whole universe his evil plans. Because of this, we are able to go try and stop them. Since his whole team is steel types, this wasn't a problem. We are literally able to one-shot his whole team. Not much of an evil man, are you, Mr. Chairman? Right after, we have to take on and beat down Master Hand for Super Smash Bros. With the help from the legendary Doggos. Once we beat him, it was time to take on Leon for our final battle. This battle was very frustrating. At level 90, there was just no way we had a chance to win, because I couldn't even make it past the Haxorus. I made it to the Charizard for my first time at level 96, but even if I made it to him, he would outspeed and take me out with a Max Rockfall. I even calculated the stats on it to see if I can even one-shot him if I was lucky enough to get an attack off. The best move I could go for against him was Crunch, and even with my attack plus 3 from Koyo, I still couldn't take him out. And the other problem was that I couldn't even make it to him without using my Dynamax earlier in the battle to live some hits from the Inteleon, Haxorus, and Dragapult. I literally battled against Leon for 4 straight hours and came to the conclusion that I would need to make it to the Charizard with almost full health to live a Max Rockfall from it. I would also need to be able to outspeed it so I can get 2 crunches off to finish it off. Well, the only possible way to outspeed it was to hold a Quick Claw. And not only that, I would have to get lucky enough to pop it 5 times in the battle in total. The Quick Claw has a 20% chance of popping if your speed is lower than your opponent's. So this would take me many tries to do even if I had the Quick Claw. The Quick Claw can be attained from a store in Stone Side, but only on certain days. I wasn't lucky enough to have it in my store the days I was recording this, so I couldn't get it. I would just wait a couple of days, but I'm actually in the process of moving across the country the time this goes up, so I couldn't wait it out. But this challenge is possible to do if you were able to set up 3 coils at the beginning of the battle and get lucky enough to pop the Quick Claw against the Inteleon, Haxorus, Dragapult, and on the Charizard twice. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get the footage of me doing this because of the time restraint. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate everyone's support on these videos because they take a very long time to make. Make sure to slap that like and subscribe button down below if you like this video. Also, comment suggestions on other challenge videos you would like to see from me in the future. With that, I love you all and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.